sleeping. Oh, yeah. Squatch-D TV, they're on the case. Steve and Chris, no mystery they can't face. Busting hoaxes, exposing lies. They're the champs of the Bigfoot mystery. Mystery. Bringing truth, science, and clarity. Squatch-D TV, they're the real deal. Uncovering the truth, it's time to reveal. Squatch-D TV, take us on your quest. Find the legend, put the rumors to rest. Late at night, shadows creeping. Deep in the woods, secrets lay sleeping. Oh yeah. Squatch-D TV, they're on the case. Steve and Chris, no mystery they can't face. Busting hoaxes, exposing lies. They're the champs of the Bigfoot mystery. Bringing truth, science, and clarity. Squatch-D TV, they're the real deal. Uncovering the truth, it's time to reveal.
Welcome to Squatch-D TV, where the truth is first before all else. Join your hosts, veteran investigator, TV personality, and author Steve Coles, and from the Kentucky Bigfoot Research Project and the Kentucky Fried Fixes channel, Chris Bennett. Sit back and prepare to take yourself on a journey with the longest-running Bigfoot podcast, Squatch-D TV. Here are your hosts, Steve and Chris.
And good evening, cyberspace. Welcome to Squatch-D TV for today's date, 7/12/2024. This is Bigfoot Friday nights, and here we are. Chris, how are you doing, brother?
Good, Steve. Man, I hope you're doing all right. I mean, we got in here a little bit, running a few minutes behind the scenes there, and I didn't even get to ask you, how's your neck feeling? Are you recovering okay?
I am starting to feel much better.
That's good. That's good.
The permanent, I go in, I think in another week or two. I think the 22nd, I think it is, I go in, and they're going to talk about doing the ablation, which is the severing those, burning out those nerves that are causing all the pain center.
Oh, yikes.
And no, it's no big deal. I mean, it's going to be like pop, 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 and then we're done. And right now, what they did was, my last surgery was to get some medication in there to have a chemical effect. Doesn't last permanently, but they want to see how I would feel with that. And hang on, get in your chair. The office assistant is starting to. As soon as I'm on the.
Watson to come check you out.
He wants. So he has now gone to his seat.
Well, I hope they get you lined out to where you can get some relief. That's
I tell you what, I put in my second air conditioner last week, or this past week.
Oh yeah, with this heat, man. Woo.
And that was, a little bit of a test because, I tried the first one and that was very painful, and that was before the ablation shots. And then I had the ablation shots and I tried this one, and hey, guess what? Not too bad. I mean, it's still not jostling a patient down a flight of stairs where you got to kind of pick them up at different angles, but proper lift technique in the door. Hey, I'm okay. So it looks like we're getting on the mend. The right side is completely good. The left side still has a dull ache every once in a while. That's the medication starting to wear off.
Hang in there, man.
Oh, absolutely. Get those shots, and I'll be back in action as soon as that ablations are done.
Well, so, I have not done much of nothing besides sit under the air conditioner because it's too hot to go outside.
Yeah, I've been hanging out in the AC myself.
With the temperatures has been high everywhere. And especially in Kentucky now, the grass is not mowing. I mean, excuse me, is not growing very, very fast now. So that's good. It's slowed down. I like to, have a couple of weeks between mowings when possible.
Yep.
Here, Larry, we've been mowing twice a week. There, it was so wet starting at the beginning of the year.
Oh, and just so you know, I'm back to doing some push-ups.
Good deal.
Just to get myself a little bit built again and get myself back in shape. So, yeah, I'm feeling a lot better. Of course, there was that medication thing I was going through, and that's all better too.
Good.
So anyway, let's do the chat roll call and
Yeah.
let's get on to our discussion. Hello, folks. Good to see you. Thank you. I took a little time off, needed a little creative balance, needed a little bit of, plus the warm. Last Sunday we were going to do a show, but it was like 85 degrees in the office. And once I kicked those lights on, because I have literally 3 lights. I only got 2 of the 3 on today. I got the 2 spotters there that really give me a nice glow.
You feel like a oven roasted chicken under the lights at Walmart.
Well, yes, I feel like I'm in the I'm waiting under the heat lamps and the fries.
Rotisserie chicken. Yeah.
But luckily these are LEDs, so they don't put up they put out heat, but they don't put out as much heat. So,
well, with me, I feel the darker the better. The less people can see me, the better they're going to enjoy it.
Very true. We both have good faces for radio. Anyway,
who we got in here tonight?
Okay, first in tonight is Patrick Collins. Hello, Pat.
See
Mick, the mighty Mick, is in the house with his meatloaf and everything.
Glad you hear me.
Charlotte J. Hello, Jay. Good to see you. Grasshopper, good to see you. Outback Orchard. Hello, my friend. Patty Lindsay, good to see you again. Hello, Patty. Buttworm is in the house.
Buttworm?
Gary Johnson Sr. Hello, Gary. Angel Nolan. Hello. David Parker. What's going on? Jen. There's the bouncer is in the house. Hello, Jen.
Hey, Jen.
Nikki says
secrets. Yeah, Nikki.
From British Columbia with the great Tom Steenberg, spending some time with him.
Very cool.
I'm going to have to do that in a couple of years. Little Kilroy in the house. Sandra Piper also there. Hello, Sandra. Good to see you.
Sandra?
John Ayers, good to see you.
All right, welcome.
And now we're getting down here. Chance Lambert's in the house. Angel Nolan, good to see you, Angel. Daniel Weeks, hello.
Daniel.
Bigfoot Society, there's Jeremiah. Hello, Jeremiah. Tennessee Cherokee in the house. Tennessee, good to see you, my brother.
Welcome. Tennessee, too. Representing good.
So, for those.
Timberline Camp.
Is Timberline Camp in the house?
Timberline Camp, yeah.
Hello, Timberline
Ontario.
Camp.
Welcome.
Nice.
All right. I think we got everybody.
So
I'm
anyway.
I'm not certain. I think, let me get here. I'm not sure if this is Patty or Patty. I'm not certain. Either way, but welcome, Patty. Patty or Patty. Maybe let me know.
That's right. So here we are. So it's good to see everybody, and it was good to take a little time off just to let the creative juices flow. We got a lot of stuff coming up, and we'll be posting a video release for Tuesday. Monday, we're going to be releasing it out to our members. So those who are members are going to get the sneak preview for it. And that'll go out Tuesday, and it's a video done by my very good friend and co-host right down there, Mr. Chris Bennett. He's got a great video coming out.
Well, hopefully it'll be edited into something that's halfway presentable. But
well, it depends on, I got to work what I got to work. No, I'm sure it'll be great. I'm sure it'll be great. So
expectations curbed. I know what you're working with.
So, and two other announcements. Number one, let me just double check. We are having we have a guest lined up. I'm not even going to say who it is yet. We're going to have a guest from Tennessee lined up for us. I'm going to have a guest lined up for us on Sunday night, Pennsylvania, or from Tennessee rather. Well, at least I'm not getting presidents mixed up. Anyway,
Tennessee. Love my neighbor state.
hey, in Pennsylvania 222. Hello, PA 222. Good to see you. Welcome. Now, everybody wonders if I'm drinking a beer when I'm slugging this can. No, it's actually
Impact Energy. Oh, wow. I'm going to be running around everywhere here in a minute. I can't drink the energy stuff. Well, I'm not supposed to, but I never could drink it anyway.
That's right.
Made me nervous.
So we have quite a discussion going on today, and I wanted to talk a little bit about critical thinking because, in a lot of ways, Chance, we love you, baby. We love you, man. It's all good. It's all good. Critical thinking. How did I come upon this topic? I watch several podcasts, and believe it or not, very rarely any of them are Bigfoot. I watch other phenomenon videos, stuff like that. And today I caught a video of the Omen House, paranormal. Now, the Omen House sits on Cielo Drive. And in case people are wondering what Cielo Drive is, the very end of Cielo Drive is where Sharon Tate in the lobby, Sharon Tate and, Jay Freitowski, Abigail Folger, Stephen Parent, and Wojtek Freitowski and Jay Sebring were all murdered there by the Manson cult. And the Omen House was built, I believe, I want to say in the 80s or 90s by this gentleman, Omen, who owns the house. And he has claimed that there's been paranormal activity in that house for many, many years. And this is how I started my day. And this is how, and he claims all this paranormal activity. And he showed a couple of videos on this guy. There is a channel I watch, it escapes me the channel, but the guy likes taking people on mystery tours of Hollywood. And he goes up to, quite often up to Benedict Canyon, which is where Cielo Drive is, and he covers a lot of the different areas of the Manson killings. But I digress. So he had a couple of clips on this thing claiming paranormal activity. One, it was involved a researcher, and something fell over, and he was claiming that this was paranormal activity. And in looking at it, the researcher takes a step down, and the item there is at an angle anyway, and it begins to slide, and then it falls over, and they're trying to claim it's paranormal. I don't see it personally. And second was a clip where he's trying to get in this door that's locked, and this is very blatant to me. And the chair next to him, the leg opens up. Now, in a few frames later, you see that recliner that's next to the door that wouldn't open, and there is the electronic switch for it to open up. Well, when he's standing right next to the chair as he's trying to open this door, that's when the legs move. And as soon as he steps away, the flap that goes up stops. And he comes in really weird. He's like, he's doing a selfie video, but he's not holding the phone like this. He's holding it like this.
Okay.
And what I think he's doing is he's shielding his eyes, because you don't see his eyes the whole time. And what I think he was doing was lining himself up for the button. And then he stands next to it, and I don't know if he had something attached to the button that could just make him just lean in a little bit and push the button. But whatever the case, to me, it looked like a hoax.
Right.
And
could be a little trickery going on there.
And credit to my my wife, she looked at it too, and she's like, "Hey, this is something weird's about. That one's weird. I don't think that's that." So I don't know, and that's what began my line of thought about critical thinking, and it was Joe Rogan who said something about critical thinking, and that there are people that want to put holes like Swiss cheese into everything, and and then it got me thinking about this whole critical thinking. It's okay to be a critical thinker, but you kind of got to be. There is a dark side to critical thinking.
You got to keep it on a leash.
You do, and we'll get into this a little bit, but let's take a look here. Okay, so the thesis is critical thinking, when generally regarded as a positive and valuable skill, can have potential drawbacks in certain contexts. And it's very important to understand that critical thinking is an essential tool, but in certain contexts, it can have some potential drawbacks, and that's huge. And Patty Lindsay said she went into a dinner party there, not a real, like.
Very cool.
So critical thinking obviously is the ability to think clearly, rationally, understanding the logical connection between ideas, analyzing and examine ideas, identifying arguments, and breaking them down into their component parts, evaluating, assessing the credibility and logical strength of evidence and arguments, synthesizing, combining different ideas to form a new or whole and propose alternative solutions, interpreting, understanding and explaining the meaning of information or an event, and reflectivity, considering the justification for one's belief and values. Critical thinking requires open-mindedness, intellectual humility, and that's huge, right? The willingness to entertain diverse perspectives and ideas, and is essential for problem-solving, decision-making, and understanding complex issues. So it is a very useful tool to have, but it's really big. Again, open-mindedness, intellectual humility is what a lot of people in that proclaim to use critical thinking all the time lack. Right?
Posers.
Well, not necessarily posers. They're using this critical thinking model, but they have no humility with it. And once they get to that, they stand by it. But we'll get into more in that in a minute. Hey, and Mike is in the house. Mike from Texas Bigfoot Rangers. Good to see you, brother. And Eyes in the Woods snuck in too. So hello, everybody. Woods.
Welcome.
Hey, y'all.
Yeah.
So first of all,
Kentucky too, Mike.
And this is huge, and this is the huge one. Skepticism turning into cynicism, right? We've seen that happen with people we know. In fact, one got himself banned because his skepticism turned into cynicism, right? It's okay to be skeptical, but it's not okay to be a cynic. And that can almost turn into a scofftic. Once you become cynical, everything that's garbage is garbage, it's garbage. And that's what we need to avoid to do. So anybody that's a member of our audience, if you start looking at these things over and over and over and over and over again, put the brakes on for a minute, because you may be turning into a cynic, right? Persistent critical thinking can sometimes lead to excessive skepticism, where individuals may become overly cynical and distrustful of information, making it too hard to accept even well-supported fact. And of course, that moves into cognitive dissonance, illusionary superiority, and all that fun stuff, and confirmation bias, right? So you start looking at all this. Hello, Batmom. Good to see you, Batmom. DM Zabo also snuck in too. Hello, guys. So when you see that is huge. That we have seen people that were Bigfoot believers, and they see this hoax, they see that hoax, they get let down by this, they get let down by that, and they don't have the diversity. Let me explain this. Every single person that I've seen do this does not have the diversity into speaking to witnesses. Hello, tackle tactician.
See me.
So that is huge. I think that's part of the problem, right? Dr. Meldrum, right? Very skeptical on a lot of different things, right? very big on a lot of things.
Yep.
Right. But he goes to a lot of conferences and he talks to a lot of witnesses and he's presented a lot of evidence from around the country. Right. And plus he has the scientific stuff in front of him that's saying, hey, this holds up. So he doesn't turn, even though he is very critical on evidence and uses critical thinking. He turns around and stays very open-ended, open-minded, whatever. But the folks that, well, like the one guy I have in mind here, he doesn't interview a lot of witnesses. He reads them online. He watches that. He doesn't meet face-to-face. Now, I've met hundreds of witnesses face-to-face. And when you do that, it kind of changes your perspective. And that's why I don't become cynical. No matter how many hoaxes are thrown at me, I can go back and think of all those positive face-to-face encounter reports I've taken.
Yes.
Right. I've seen people cry to me, literally cry, tears, shaking, breath. Seen that all. So that kind of keeps me out of that being a cynic.
Yeah. But,
Now,
I mean, after you talk to all those people, though, Steve, you can't help but develop a little bit of bias there.
Not true. Not true. As an investigator, you look at each event on an individual basis, right? Just because an ex-con did a crime in this particular manner, right? Or you have two suspects. You have an ex-con and you have a guy with no criminal record. Who committed the crime? Now, if I had bias, I would say the guy who's the con. And yes,
Well,
he would be highly looked at a little more strenuously, but you have to keep all these other guys in play, all the other suspects in play.
But the kind of bias that I'm talking about, though, is, like I'll speak with somebody that's had a Bigfoot sighting, in which I don't talk to a lot of people around here. I've already talked to everybody that I know of that's had a sighting. But if you speak to somebody that's had a Bigfoot sighting and they start telling you, yeah, the UFO landed in my yard and then the Bigfoot stepped out. Now, you got to there's going to be a little bias there because I don't think those two issues are related. I don't think those two.
Right.
So right there, that's a red flag. I'm like, whoa.
Right. But is that bias or is that experience? Right.
Well, yeah.
Okay.
There's going to be some bias, and that causes some bias to my opinion about Bigfoot. It does.
Right. But not as a whole. Not as the phenomenon as a whole. No, I believe the phenomenon exists. That's my belief.
Yeah.
I've seen it twice, so I don't need necessarily that proof. But it is so important to understand that when I get a new case, the board is clear. We interview. We go through the process. Does the witness pass the forensic part of the interview test? Do they seem believable? Are they showing any kind of micro expressions or behavioral things that may indicate a deception going on, or neurolinguistics that are showing that? And then we move on to the next stage. But what I'm getting at is that, when you look at something, you have to keep open-minded. Now, just because I believe the Bigfoot exists, that doesn't mean it necessarily exists in this case. And that's the way it should be. There are so many people on both sides of the argument that will jump in and say, oh, it's got to be Bigfoot. Right. Okay.
Facebook find Bigfoot. They went down to the path to where everything was Bigfoot.
So I had to remove Bob Smith, who mentioned the P word, and I'm not going to.
Yeah, we don't do religion or politics here, Bob. Sorry, but just hang in.
Sayonara. Yeah, and that would exactly right. Bypass with believing your friend who's a liar because he's your friend. Correct. Yeah. Correct. We see that all that time. And then again, that's part of cognitive dissonance too. Right. Which includes confirmation bias and includes illusionary superiority, other things. Like, for example, you have This guy named Bob Smith. Let's just use that as an example. Bob Smith sees Bigfoot all the time. And, there's Mark, his bestie, and Mark will back up Bob Smith every single time saying, oh, well, Bob's an honest guy, even though Bob has been caught lying by other people in the past.
Yeah, right.
And that is part of the illusionary superiority where, kind of like a transverse way is that, hey, he knows what he's talking about. He's the, and again, that is done because of, confirmation bias. Now, he's my friend, so I'm going to agree with him because I'm biased. He's my best friend. So it's all part of that whole minutia. But yes, like I said, the problem is that some people see hoax after hoax and they don't talk to enough witnesses where they see some truth. Right. And then they listen to online accounts without really, because I can watch videos of people being interviewed all the time. It's much different when it's in person. It's much different when you get an email. It escalates when you get a phone call. Now you're hearing their voice for the first time. But when you meet eye to eye, you're watching their body language, you're listening to their neurolinguistics, you're seeing their micro expressions, you're seeing how they act, their physiological reactions to retelling the incident. Yeah. Then you see whether it's truth or fake.
Yeah, if you see a video, it could be a performance.
Right.
And otherwise, if you're one-on-one live during the interview, right, there's not much chance. They could be trying to give a performance, right, but since Steve is a good judge of body language, I won't say expert, but I'd say he's pretty close.
There is a question here. Very good. Well, what would it take? Eisenhower said, Steve, you saw Bigfoot. I have never seen one. I believe you. I have seen things captured on these things on film. What would it take you to believe me? Honest question. I would like to see lack of any motive. I would like to see your body language. I would like to listen how you tell the tale. And that's pretty much all I need. But as far as if you tell me, hey, listen, I've seen one, I'm going to take your word for it for now. Not a big deal. Somebody says in here, hey, I've seen a Bigfoot. Really? Oh, well, let me hear about it. Whatever. That's fine. Because who am I? I'm not investigating your case, right? You see, that's a good question, but the belief here is that. Let me just check something here. Something's not right. There we go.
Well, I think it's healthy to take somebody at their word if they're giving you an honest account of what they've seen or what they witnessed.
Right.
Unless they've got something up their sleeve, like
right.
Well, we're promoting this website that talks about.
Right. Like you can tell me you've seen a Bigfoot. I'll believe you. I have no reason not to believe you at this point in time. I'm not investigating your case. If I'm called to investigate the case, then I have to go step by step by step by step by step. Right. But I've talked to witnesses who've come to me and said, hey, I've seen this and yada, yada, yada.
Without investigation, there's no receipts. So, it's like right. The Patterson Gimlin film. I think it looks good, but I wasn't there that day.
Right. Right. So again, people who frequently critique and question others' ideas and stories can strain personal and professional relationship as their behavior might be perceived as overly critical or even confrontational. Again, it's how you deliver the message. Right. Tact is the art of getting your point across without making an enemy. And that is why I can walk certain circles. Why people who believe in the woo still talk to me. Why people who believe in the UFO ideas still talk to me. Even though I'm ardent believer of not believing that stuff, my arguments are solid. but they're not confrontational, nor are they overly critical. And that's really huge to do it. And it's taken a little time to finesse that. Now, have I poked fun at the woo in the past? Of course. It's a little bit of humor. The ridiculousness of it at times, you know, it is what it is. And you got to have a sense of humor when you're around me. Like, you know, I've seen videos, and we've shown that here on the channel before. People, I'm leaving a recorder here, Bigfoot. If you don't want it on, just turn it off. I mean, I've seen that nonsense.
Well, that's one of the things you mentioned earlier about the intellectual humility. You've got to be able to realize that you don't know everything there is to know. And you got to be able to recognize there are people that believe they know all there is to know. And that's wrong thinking.
And a couple of comments coming up. Russ says, even if 99.9% of Bigfoot is fake, we have to investigate the 1 in 1,000. Well, here's the thing about that. I actually said that in 2011 on the Nat Geo Loch Ness special. I said, even if, we throw away 99% of the event, we still have that 1%. Well, we need to.
Right.
You figure that out.
Yeah. The skeptic.
Chance says, I know you both don't like the PG film. I love the PG film.
I like it. Not without, there's issues. There's some flags there for me. But
hello, Steven. Steven Barcelo's in the house. We got to get you on. We got to get you on the show, Steven. Throw me a shout out throw me a PM on Facebook, Steven. We want to get you on the show as well. Talk about your museum. We got to talk about it. If I don't believe in the woo, how do I? Well, I have a little firsthand knowledge of Mr. Polites missing 411 stuff, as he did investigate a case very close to me, and it left a very bad taste in the family's mouth. I'll tell you that much. He didn't want to seem to hear about the more logical explanations that law enforcement had for him, or the family had for him about that. He wanted to keep it to the weird and mysterious. And again, you're doing a TV show. A guy disappeared in the woods. It happens, right? There's a lot of predators out there, especially bear out in that particular thing. The guy could have dropped dead of a heart attack. A bear could have dragged him off. Maybe his gun was still around his arm when he fell, and he took the gun with him. Because I was like, well, we didn't find the gun. Well, the gun could have been shoulder holster. It could have been shouldered. So, can I cite the case, please? Lily's Pond, New York. I forget the name of the dude.
I don't remember his name either, Steve.
Yeah,
it's in there somewhere, but I can't pull it out.
Yeah.
Lily's Pond. Lily's Pond Road.
No, it's Lily Pond. The actual one.
It was the case of the elderly gentleman.
Thomas Messick.
Yeah, he was deer hunting with his relatives, elderly gentleman.
And then he tries to Polites in that same episode tries to tie in another missing event which occurred in Schuylerville, New York, which just happens to be the community I live in Greenwich, New York, but I am right across the river from Schuylerville. I am closer to Schuylerville than I am to the village of Greenwich.
Mm-hmm.
So Schuylerville is my hangout. It's where I go to the shops to shop. It's where supermarkets are. It's where the gas stations are. Right. You're welcome, Pancho. He tried to tie it into a missing person case there too, but the guy went missing. Okay. People go missing all the time. There's nothing strange about that. And if you want to look for, the weather data or something, there was another case that was in Colorado. That one I don't forget the name. I saw that, and that's when I started to lose interest. Well, the guy who started taking his clothes off, typical signs of hypothermia. As a medic, I know, and I also have training in ice rescue when I was a firefighter.
Right.
And part of that is hypothermia training. How patients and people that need to be rescued act as being, their behaviors. Part of that is that hypothermia patients, after a while, even though they're freezing cold, begin to feel like they're warm.
Right.
Right. And they start taking stuff
the nerve
off.
endings start burning. They feel hot, and then they're really close to death when that happens.
Correct. So anyway, but that's why I have some interesting as an investigator that you got to understand. Dave Paulides might have been former law enforcement, but he was never a police investigator. He investigated things at the local level. He was never a detective.
I think he was a state trooper, wasn't he?
No, he was LAPD.
Was he LAPD?
Yep. He used to do the VIP escorts in Hollywood until this is what came out via Lauren Coleman. Was apparently Paulides was asked to step down from the police department because while he was doing these VIP things, he was obtaining autographs from the celebrities he was protecting, and then he was selling them. Oh
well.
That's according to Lauren Coleman. According to Lauren.
Oh man, yeah, I had a side gig going there. I could see getting an autograph from somebody that's famous, and you'd be honored to have it, but. Why you won't sell it for? No. I've got some autographs from some famous people. I'd never sell them. I got an autograph of Jimmy Hoffa. I'll never sell it. James Hoffa. I don't say signature.
Let's see. What I have on film isn't Bigfoot, and your scrutiny will be welcome. I won't tolerate non-critical thinking because it's convenient. Oh, why? Thank you, Eyes. Yeah, I would love to see it.
That would be cool. Yeah.
You can email me at admin@squatchdetective.com. So admin, ADMIN @squatchdetective.com. Love to see it. And I appreciate that.
Oh man, Tack, I love you, man. Tactical tactician. Can I have your autograph?
So that as far as you're missing 411. I think there's something. There might be a case in there that or two that might be in there that may defy explanation, but. A lot of the cases I saw on the program, a TV show, a lot of them is like, man, I've seen that. I've seen that before many times. Yeah. So I live in those kind of areas.
I'm Mick. I'm putting this up. Mick says, Chris, where's Jimmy Hoffa buried? I don't know, Mick. I don't know. It's not revealed to me in that signature. But let's see. If we use critical thinking, though, since we haven't found a body, then technically that means Jimmy Hoffa could still be alive.
Yeah, no.
Unlikely. Unlikely. But since there's no body, it didn't happen.
Yep.
Right? You could explain it that way. But that's stretching things a little bit.
So again, with critical thinking, a lot of this is why when you have no critical thinking, then you're like certain channels, especially ones that try to get our plug pulled. Sometimes you're like certain channels, like those, the Rocky Mountain Oysters. They have no critical thinking whatsoever unless they're forced into it. And, that's why they cut a video every day of some BS, Bigfoot. Because excessive focus on analysis and critique can stifle creativity. And that's true. I can take a look at a case and is this real? Is it not? I can sit there and hem and haw. Creative processes require a level of open-mindedness. Maybe this did happen. And there's times we put videos out there saying, listen, we didn't investigate this. This may have happened. and it sounds credible enough. If it passes most of the sniff test, we will put it out there, but with the disclaimer that we didn't investigate this. So it's really important to do that. But it's true. If I'm sitting there, and I'll tell you, when I did in part of this, a discussion with Big G kind of led me to this today. This decision today too was, he was talking about sometimes being indecisive, and that's part of it. Is that I was really I waited like 6 extra weeks to release the Vermont trail cam photo when that was brewing, right? And it was constant critical thinking, and it led to increased stress and anxiety about it, and may worry about finding flaws or making mistakes, and it leads to indecisiveness, which is part of that process. And there's a great segue that hey, I'm guilty of that myself sometimes. Of this is really good. Do I release this? Do I not? I mean, I did with New York baby footage, but that took a long time to release too. That took a good 6 months.
Yeah. But, Steve, I think it's healthy to second guess yourself. I think it is.
Always. But not to the point where you're second guessing, yes. Third guessing, fourth guessing, fifth guessing, sixth guessing.
Yeah.
Not so much.
Right.
And I tend to get into that track at times. So that is, I get that part. I get that part very much. People wonder why I take breaks. It's so I avoid becoming a cynic. It's because you deal with so much bad stuff that you tend to forget about the good stuff. And we talked about that earlier. So really big. Again, people that are extreme critical thinkers rarely collaborate with anybody. Now, Chris and I have collaborated. We're collaborating. Chris makes videos for the channel, and we put them up there. We gussy them up and send the video out to the dance. And no, Big G is a nickname for my buddy.
Yeah. You used to co-host.
Yep. Back in 2010. And John, correct. And John, welcome, my friend. You do need to step away sometimes, relax, correct, right? And I like delving myself into other mysteries while I'm doing that. And the reason why it helps me feed the creative process and the investigative process with this mystery. Sometimes I may see something that a paranormal investigator is doing, or a UFO investigator is doing, or other cryptid investigators are doing that. Go, that's not a bad idea for this. So doesn't mean we're taking critical thinking away, because there's times, like I said, I was watching my palette of paranormal programming today, which I do once in a while. Some days I don't watch anything but just documentaries on TV about other stuff. Jay Carey, extreme critical thinkers are often just wearing that as a costume to run around belling how smart they. Yes, agreed. Illusionary superiority.
Yeah. Yeah. It's one of the traps you got to be.
And again, if you have not gotten the psychology of Bigfoot, it explains it all.
Good book. Yep. Read it twice. As soon as I get some cold weather again, it'll probably be the third. I'll read it the third and fourth time, but it's good.
And by the way, I know I was saying I was going to show up at the Hocking Hills with an armful of books. I'm not. Hocking Hills, we're going to have a Squatch-D TV booth this year.
Oh, cool.
So we're doing nothing but focusing on interviewing people, having witnesses come up and interviewing the witnesses and stuff like that. So if you're in Logan, Ohio, for the Hocking Hills Bigfoot Festival, swing by. We want to get your story on video. So we'll be doing that. Because I decided that it would be more productive for the channel to sit there and do that than You can always get the book online, and plus I'll have books for other shows down the road as well.
Yeah. You got some links, right? See, you get some links for the book.
I sure do. They're up. Just go on Amazon, Google my name, Steve Coles, under books, and it'll pop up all my books.
Jen said she was going to get a book at Hocking Hills. You should take a few books with you, Steve.
Yeah, I can't get them in time. They are so slow. It used to be when they were Kindle Direct. Create Space was the actual. They would have your books in a week, no matter what the order was.
Right.
Week and a half tops. Never had an issue. Since they switched over to Kindle Direct, run by Amazon, horrible. Horrible turnover time. A little cheaper in shipping, but horrible turnover time. And then, my second order with Kindle Direct, they screwed up my order. They charged me for the full lot, but they forgot to send me $10.
Tackle Tactician. No, I'm not going, bud. I'm not going. It's too far of a ride for me. I have traveling issues. But, sure, I'd share a ride with you if I could.
But I'm bringing my studio gear, and I'm going to see if B can't set me up in one of the rooms in the theater, which is where we're right in front of, and I'm going to take that room to interview people.
Very good.
For the show. So people that want to come out and touch base with us in Ohio or from wherever want to tell their encounter, let's get you on video and we'll talk about it.
I think that would be cool.
Yeah, absolutely. I'll if anybody has books or any kind of stuff they want signed at Hocking Hills, please do bring it. I will sign it gladly. My honor. Not to mention, well, we're going to be probably doing brief interviews with all of our participants. We get Cliff Barrickman, Lyle Blackburn, just to name a couple. So it's going to be a good time. Good time. See, again, risk aversion. Sometimes you worry about negative outcomes. Like, okay, we're going to put this picture or video out. And that is one of the things that bounces through any investigator when you're ready to get that warrant signed, to get that person arrested. It can be very it's always that risk, you're like, oh, is this going to be good? How's it going to go down? Is it, so you do have those thoughts. So conclusion for tonight is, while critical thinking is an essential skill, balancing it with open-mindedness, creativity, and collaboration is important for well-rounded decision making and problem solving. So critical thinking is a great tool. Just don't overuse it. Don't overthink it. Problem with some critical thinkers is that they're not critical thinkers, they're overthinkers. And you got to know the difference. And that's huge. So that's huge. You can sit there and not like some of your you can not like some of your outcomes or your results, but this is what it is. You have to go with what is shown in front of you. And that's how you remove confirmation bias. That conclusion should be on a t-shirt. Very true. Very, very true. That's a good idea.
Good dose of humility.
Yeah.
Go a long way.
Well, that's one of the things too, is that you should that you have to use some cognitive ability, humility, and humility is that you got to remember that when you come out with results that are negative to a cause, you got to go about that in a tactful way,
Yeah.
depending on the circumstance. For example, um, you know, Joe Schmo puts out a hoax video or a hoax, and you get the receipts for it. It's not hard to go out there and bang, smash them. But if somebody legitimately thinks they've seen a Bigfoot and they've misidentified something you want to, attach a little gingerly.
Yeah.
I used to catch a lot of thieves, right? Well, how you treat the 60-year-old woman, putting whatever in her purse, earrings or jewelry or makeup, is a lot different than a guy walking in grabbing 15 cartons of cigarettes and trying to get out the door. How you respond to them, how you stop them, how you deal with them, completely different than, like used to catch the elderly a lot too. Like you'll catch a 72-year-old guy stealing, just boosting something for whatever reason. They're getting a thrill out of it, not sure what it is. You wouldn't approach them like a guy boosting, and I used to go up to them, excuse me, how you doing? I think you forgot something. I always give them the out. Oh my goodness, I forgot. I'll play on their old age.
Right.
Get it back. I'm not going to arrest them anyway. All right, I got the stuff back. Get out. Have a nice day. All right. Don't do that again. I catch you again, it's going to be trouble. Whereas the ruthless criminal, you're going to be like, all right, put it down. Let's go. Turn around, cuff, and get in. Here you go. Completely different. All right, Tackle Tactician asked a great question there too.
Well, it's quite. He probably hasn't been doing it that long, Tag, but
But pretty damn close. I mean, 1988.
Several decades there, yeah.
But have I seen more hoaxers? Yes, and I'll tell you why. Because the medium for hoaxing has increased. The creation of YouTube, the creation of social media, such as Facebook and Instagram and Pinterest and Twitter and TikTok and wherever, even Reddit, opens up the door for hoaxers, for audiences. Remember, the first thing in any hoax, they need an audience, right? So that's what social media gives everybody, is an audience. So of course there's going to be an uptick. It used to be, people used to talk about claims. I mean, in the days of the message boards, you might see them out. The hoaxers used to attack the message boards. Like, oh, I've seen this Bigfoot. Then it was the forums, and we used to see people in forums hoax on forums. Then social media came into play in a big way, and that's when people first started hoaxing on Facebook.
Facebook, yeah.
Right. And then it drifted over to YouTube.
Yeah, people can actually make money. Good money from their hoax.
And the unfortunate thing is, if somebody hoaxes something, and Russ makes a good Russ Torcola makes a great, once a hoaxer, always a hoaxer. Absolutely. Once you cross that line and you hoax something,
Yep,
that's it. You're
going back.
Everybody's going to point to that hoax. People have asked me before too, and here's the other funny issue, and we're just about done for the night show already. But people have asked me sometimes, like, you put on something, hey, why don't you get a Bigfoot costume and and do some videos with the Bigfoot costume, like spoofs and stuff. No, as a legitimate researcher, I don't want to be anywhere near a Bigfoot costume that I own. Sorry, not going to do it. That's not in my budget. I have the Jack's Link Bigfoot figure in my closet that I take out for shows that people love taking a picture with them.
See, that's a problem too as a researcher, and if you want to do a documentary,
right.
It's hard to do that because you don't have any tools, or you shouldn't have any tools for a recreation of a sighting.
Right.
But the best documentaries are going to have recreations of the sighting in there. So I don't know how a man could get by that. I mean, how you work around that? You just hire a production company come in that's already got their Bigfoot guy and stuff.
Well, so chances when becoming a researcher, you try to debunk everything beforehand. Well, that goes without saying. Part of that process is the interview process. That's where it starts. Does the story make sense? Does the story make psychological sense? The book says a lot about stories making sense and what doesn't make sense. And yes, there is now a proliferation of hoaxes, not only in our field but in every other field. There is, if you listen to Jeremy Corbell and George Knapp, they talk about them constantly getting videos from people, even their friends, that are trying to say that it's real. It turns out to be hoaxed CGI or something like that. So they're constantly being pressed to put out false information. And the bigger you get, and you see, this is, I understand some people don't like Matt Moneymaker. But at one time he was one, and Cliff, and at one time they, were the biggest names in Bigfoot at the time. When Finding Bigfoot was on, the BFRO was in the forefront. You don't think how many hoaxes did I have flushed out of the BFRO flat system, or their investigative process. You see a report and it's just total bull, likely hoax. Send that to the trash bin. It happens. The bigger you are, the more high profile you are, the more hoaxes you will get. Now, the thing with me is that I have probably had a handful of people try to send me hoaxed material. We had and he's in the Hall of Shame, JB, whatever, with his stupid sending me the trail cam photo that was resurfaced, trying to tell me he was a sniper CDB and all this other stuff. Boom. Chance, that is completely unjustified. But
everybody's allowed an opinion. Everybody's allowed an opinion.
Loud opinion, but and then there was the latest one was Steve Cawthorn sending me that picture of the screen cap there that we eventually found that picture of.
Yeah.
That was the last one. It's like, why? And this is a guy that was my enemy. He was a Viscardiite, and then came over and said, "Oh, you're right, blah, blah, blah," and then tries to hand me this steaming pile of dog manure on a plate and tell me it's caviar. And it's, it was very clearly it was not, but
I would have more respect if somebody like that got exposed would just say, "Okay, you got me. I did it. Just fess up."
And he just spun more provable lies in his rants. Right. And they were all caught on text. And then we had the social media post that proved he was lying in those texts. Like, God, you can't even make a story up that's right. But that is that way. Just like the other guy at Rocky Mountain Oysters with the picture of the weasel trying to claim it was something else, and he actually took the picture from somebody else.
Okay.
Now, it's like you're being proved. You're lying right there. You are a liar. Give it up. Give it up. Grow a set. Man up. Stop being, you know what? My father always taught me, not only does a man have one integrity, but when a man makes a mistake, he admits it. He admits to it. He admits to it. He admits to it.
That's right.
We've made some missteps on this channel. We've admitted to every single one we've ever done.
Yep.
Right? There's no shame in being wrong. We're all human after all.
That's right.
So let's end with that kind of thought.
I think I'm part Neanderthal, but
right.
Other than that, mostly.
And right.
Yeah. Oh, we're getting okay.
Why are we giving hoaxers acknowledgement? Why? Well, because ignoring them doesn't make them go away, right. Gary. That's why. People say, oh, just ignore them. They'll go away. No, they don't. It emboldens them.
Yeah.
Right. It's not a bully scenario where if you ignore the bully, you know what? And that's the other thing, too, is that I've never seen a bully that you ignore go away. It's not until you turn around and pop them once in the head. Right. Then they go away.
But we don't condone violence.
Right.
Yeah, right. Once they're exposed, that saves them from
right
hoaxing anybody else. Because after they've been exposed as a hoaxer, then everything they do from that moment on is in question. Right. That's the way it should be.
Right. Yeah. And part of that is the tenets of Bigfoot research. Yeah. Keep an open mind. Yep. Respect science. Always tell the truth. Responsibility to educate and expose the charlatans, because exposing the charlatans is part of that responsibility to educate. If I'm going to be a Bigfoot researcher, I stand for the truth, and I am going to tell the truth every scenario. I'm going to expose the people that are telling the lies and that are giving misinformation out. And I think all by now pretty much can figure out who that is. All I have to do is look on social media. But anyway, that's it for the show tonight, folks. Chris, any final words before we cut over? Sunday, we're going to have a great guest. We're going to keep that in surprise. But she is a Bigfoot researcher from Tennessee. And, we'll also be meeting her at the Hocking Hills Bigfoot Festival as well. She's one of the speakers there. So it's going to be a really good show Sunday night. She's got a lot of pep in her step, and I love that. And it's going to be a great time. So we will.
We want to thank everybody for hanging out with us here on Friday night. It's good to see everybody in chat. We appreciate you guys. Honored, thrilled, and honored that you would spend your Friday night with us. We appreciate you.
Amen.
We'll see you Sunday.
And folks, everybody be safe. Have a good Saturday. We'll catch you all in less than 48 hours here on Squatch-D TV. Again, love y'all, and we'll all see you right here Sunday night, 9 p.m. Eastern, for Squatch-D TV Live.
We thank you for being here with us on Squatch-D TV. If you haven't taken the time yet, please hit that like button and subscribe to the channel. And oh yes, hit that notification bell too. We don't want you to miss anything. If you really like our content, you should consider becoming a member, and it's really inexpensive and a great way to support not only the show, but honest Bigfoot research. Everyone have a great week. Be safe and God bless. We will see you all here next time on Squatch-D TV. Keep on squatching.
Ba-da-ba-da-ba-ba.